So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, Foxhillians. Good evening, Prime Minister. Good evening, Honorable Keith Bell. And I want to welcome you all to the Fox Hill Community Center and welcome you to your home, which is Fox Hill, for this brief ceremony to convey to you land which Keith Bell has already described was your land, but now you will have proper title to that property. It's been since 1989, when George Mackey was a representative for Fox Hill, that he acquired a number of parcels of land as the Minister of Housing. One parcel of land was called the Sugarman Estate. The Sugarman Estate is located back of Francis Avenue, between Francis Avenue and Eastwood. And there's a Garden of Eden. And there were a number of people from Fox Hill who were living on the Sugarman Estate. And just before 2017, the then Progressive Liberal Party government was able to carry out an exercise for about 20 households where land was identified, parceled, and given back using the acquisition powers of the Minister of Housing to again give people a clean title. That was 2017. George Mackey also publicly acquired the land on which this community center is located. And he created, in 1989, a nonprofit called the Fox Hill Community Center. It took from 1989 to 2017 for the community center to be constructed. And it was officially commissioned in the presence of the then Governor General Dame Marguerite Pinley in April of 2017. Before that, George Mackey was responsible for two other parcels which have been developed. One is a parcel of land off Coburn Street, which is a street off Bernard Road, and he developed a subdivision there, again, using his powers as Minister of Housing to acquire private lands and to give it to people who were longtime residents of Fox Hill. In addition, he did another subdivision in Rose Street, which is right across the street, again, using his powers as Minister of Housing to publicly acquire land and then build houses and convey to people who were Fox Hill residents. One of the last parcels of land that I want to describe is what is called the Lionel Davis subdivision, which is right down the street here. That too was acquired by George Mackey during the 1989 acquisition period. Why have I taken you down this memory lane? It's because you now see, I hope you see, and I have to say this because before coming here this evening, I was in the Prime Minister's office, and his aides asked me if tonight was a political event. It kind of threw me off because I'm not certain what the distinction is between when something is political or not. It's not political in the sense that we've asked anybody whether they PLP or F&M. It's not that kind of political. But it is political in this sense because when you vote at election time, an election result has consequences. And the people who you choose make decisions on behalf of the citizens and residents of an area for and on their behalf. So before you voted in 2021, there was a list of promises made by the Progressive Liberal Party for this community. One of the promises on that list was to deal with people who were having a problem with title to land, in the sense that they had been in continuous occupation of the land, but whenever it came time to develop the land, they didn't have the ability to go to the bank because there wasn't a clear and marketable title. What was the simplest way to deal with this? It was not to invent anything new or invent the wheel, as they say. George Mackey had already set the example. To use the powers of the Minister of Housing, the Minister of Housing will acquire the property under the Acquisition of Land Act. The government would then vest the title in themselves. and then convey it to the people who were in actual occupation of the land. We think we've gone through a very thorough process so that everybody is certain that the land they're getting back is in fact your land. I think the last meeting we had here, we asked everybody, please check the conveyances and make sure that you're getting land in Andros. You get the land in Nassau and Fox Hill, right? So everybody's checked. There's no Andros land on any conveyance. The land is Nassau land. So that's the point. So tonight, you will get a conveyance with a clean title. Now, there's one more procedural step. So what has to happen is, under the law these days, the conveyance has to be registered or recorded. In order for it to be registered or recorded, it has to be stamped, which means there's a tax which is applicable to the transfer of the land. The Prime Minister's Minister of Finance has indicated that the stamp tax will, or the VAT as it's now called, will only be a nominal amount. And the conveyance will actually be stamped by the Ministry of Housing. So that too will not be your responsibility. And you will go on and record the property as well. So what you will do is you will get a facsimile of the conveyance. So just in case it's lost or anything, you have the facsimile, and that can be used in the case of, you can execute an affidavit of loss and record the facsimile if the original is lost. But the original will be, for the time being, kept in the hands of the Minister of Housing, so it can be stamped and recorded. You will get a facsimile of the conveyance tonight, and once the recording is done and stamped, you will get the original. But remember that title does not pass anymore until the conveyance is recorded. So that's the last procedural step. I hope that for all of you, this is a pleasing event and that it solves many of the issues which you have in relation to land. Because as Keith Bell said, land is one of the keys to development. And you can't go to a bank unless the bank says that you have a clear and marketable title. Just recently, I had to do another act on behalf of the people of Fox Hill because the street Raspberry Court was not a public road. And the people on that road were trying to get clear and marketable title. The bank's lawyers said that they would not give a loan unless the road on which Raspberry Court, houses on Raspberry Court is located, unless that road was in fact a public road. So you know there are private roads and there are public roads. For a road to be public, it has to be so declared by law. So I had to speak to the Minister of Works, and the Minister of Works kindly agreed to declare Raspberry Court a public road, and the gentleman wrote me 2 days ago to say, as a result of that, he's now got clear and marketable title and a mortgage to his property from the bank. So these are real live issues that people face. And these are the issues we want to help you solve. In order to do that, we have to be in place to do it. We can't help if we're not there. And we hope that what we've exhibited over the years that we have been associated with Fox Hill is a record of assiduous work, of faithfulness, trust, and loyalty to the people in this community. And we hope that in return, we get the same loyalty, faithfulness, and trust. It has been my honor and privilege over the 30 or so years that I've been associated with Fox Hill to be of service to the people of this community. And I would hope and wish and desire to continue that service because there's much more work to be done. After we've done this, there are many people who, for one reason or another, did not know that this program existed. And I'll be going back to the Minister of Finance to ask him if he would consider again another round of this so that people who continue to have those problems will be able to help them solve those problems. The alternative is extremely expensive. To do a quieting of titles action, which requires going to court with affidavits and advertising and surveys, costs anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 to do. This cost is being borne by the Bahamas government and at public expense, because we believe land is the key to development, land is the key to wealth, and we want to be able to vest wealth and land in the people of Fox Hill and the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas more generally, because that's the way we're going to develop our country. Our country is developed if people, young and not so young, believe that they have a stake in the country, in the future of the country. And nothing ties you to the future than when you have land which you own. There's a very famous saying in this country: talk is cheap, money buys land. And that is only to say that when you have land, you have something to hold on to. So once again, I want to thank my colleague, Mr. Bell, for seamlessly executing this on behalf of the government. I want to thank the Prime Minister for agreeing on a nod to get this done. And I appeal to him again for a second round. It takes a while to do it. And I want people to understand that in our country, procedures are not as quick as we would like them to be. Left to me, I'd do this in 6 weeks, but it's simply not possible. There are many, many things that get in the way of the quick execution of things. But what is required is the job is now done. It requires patience, and there'll be more patience required, but that's the story of our country. And all of us will continue to work on this project called Commonwealth of the Bahamas, in which we believe. I thank you again. God bless you. God bless Fox Hill, and God bless the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And now it's my privilege and honor to introduce to some and present